officially summer, so you know what that means. Summer reading. I'm so excited to do this video. I am a summer girly. I love reading, and my favorite thing to do is to read books in summer, like on a beach, in the garden, just tanning, everything. I love reading books in summer. So I'm going to be making sure that you guys know what to read this summer. This is going to be a full summer guide. I have so many books to go through, so you can't be like, I don't know what to read this summer. You will after this video. Okay, we are going to be starting with my first book, and I'm so excited. It is The Summer of Broken Rules. If there was ever a summer book, it was this one. This book is a closed-door romance that is set on Martha's Vineyard, and it's a wedding on Martha's Vineyard where the whole extended family come together for this one wedding. And there's this game of assassin which the whole extended family get involved in with like water guns and everything. It is a big part of the book, and there is a mention of grief within it. I also love how floppy this book is. Just thought I'd mention it. It's just a light-hearted summer romance. My next book is a book that got me into reading and got me out of my massive reading slump, and it is just for the summer. I owe this book so much. It is about this girl Emma who is very avoidant, and she keeps moving from place to place, never settling down. And she also has this theme in her life of every time she's dating someone, they break up and then that person marries their forever person and she's just left there. And that's a common theme in her life. And so she goes on Reddit, I'm pretty sure, and finds this guy who also has the same problem as her. So then they're like, let's break the curse and date each other for a couple of weeks, and then we can go off and marry our forever people. So it's a very interesting concept for the book. There are very heavy topics with a toxic mother in the book as well, so it's not just like a light-hearted, no storyline, no plot. Like, this is so plot heavy. And the guy Justin in it, he actually ruined my standards for everyone else. Like, he organizes their dates. He sends her like spreadsheets of like whether she'd want like a beach or city day, and then organizes everything. Like, it is just so good. I love this book so much. Now, I know this is early, but this is my favorite book of all time. It is Picking Daisies on Sundays. Don't even get me started on this book. Maybe I should have put this as the last one because I feel like I could talk about this forever. So this book is completely spice-free. It is set in New York City, and they're in university, like last year of university. It is a childhood friends to lovers, and they have a massive falling out and then come back together. So kind of like second chance. Oh, and how can I forget? It is fake dating. I love a fake dating book. The fake dating in this book is because there's a wedding and he needs a fake date to the wedding. I actually take it back. Justin didn't ruin my standards. Levi ruined my standards. Oh my goodness. If there is ever a book boyfriend, this book. Daniela, the main character, is doing a textiles course at university, and then Levi's doing some kind of internship being a Jane Austen lecturer. Don't even talk to me. I also saw Liana Cincotti's mood board for this book, and the main guy Levi is based off Bradley Will Simpson from The Vamps, which is like my childhood dreams come true. So yeah, this is of course going to be my favorite book of all time. My next one is recommended an author, and it is Carly Fortune. I only have 3 of her books. She does have 5. First of all, this book is being made into a series, and it is coming out June the 10th. So get on reading this as soon as possible because you want to keep up to date. It's kind of giving the Summer I Turned Pretty vibes, but more adult. And the way this book is set out, if you've read People We Meet on Vacation, where it's present day and then goes backwards in time and present day, that's how this book is laid out. One of my favorite layouts in books. Also, can we talk about the sprayed edges on this and how beautiful the covers of her books are? Insane. I just love Sam and Percy. It is once again childhood friends to lovers. We can tell what tropes I like, okay? And it is set in Barry's Bay, all set in Canada. There's like mentions of Tim Hortons and everything. Sam, the main guy, he lives at this lake, but Percy's family rent out a house on that lake, so she'd see him every summer after. And so you're following their lives from the second they meet as children all up until present day when they're in their 30s, I'm pretty sure, unless they're late 20s. And there's a massive falling out in the book, and you're kind of figuring out as the book goes on what the heck happened between them. Like, what was the falling out? This book feels like a situationship that ends well. Let's just say that. And then riding off that, One Golden Summer is about the other brother from that book. So Sam is one of the brothers and then Charlie is the other brother. And I love One Golden Summer as well because the main girl Alice is a photographer and it just talks in depth about her photography. And as someone who loves photography, like this just hit different. The banter between Charlie and Alice in this book, I don't think I've ever read banter like it. I was literally giggling and kicking my feet the entire time reading this book. I might even reread this summer. I just love it so much. And then my last one is Meet Me at the Lake. This is probably my least favorite out of them, but it's still worth mentioning. Her other books aren't the same characters as in these ones, but all of her books are phenomenal. So I recommend them all. And then riding off those books, of course, I have to recommend the Summer I Turned Pretty series. How could I not? If you haven't already watched the show, go watch the show and then read the books. These books, I will mention, they get better as they go. Like I would give this a 3-star, this one a 4-star, and this one a 5-star, but still worth reading all of them. The last book, I was literally in shock the entire time, and there are slight differences from the show, so they're definitely worth reading even if you've watched the show. If you don't know what it's about, it is a classic love triangle situation where the main girl Belly goes to stay with this family every summer, and the family have 2 sons, Conrad and Jeremiah, and it is the classic which one will she end up with. Either way, these are really, really easy to read in summer and completely spice free. My next few recommendations are going to be non-romance books because as you can probably tell by this video, I love a romance book. So I thought I'd spice it up a little bit. And my next recommendation is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book follows the story of Nina Rivers, who is the daughter of Mick Rivers, mentioned in The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. But he is a rock star and it's about his children who all live in Malibu and they all surf. It is just so summery. And Nina has this insane party at her Malibu house. So it's just kind of going back and forth in time. You're seeing their whole childhood growing up versus this one day, this one party. And it's so interesting how it's laid out because it'll be like 4 p.m. and then it'll go back in time and it'll be 5 p.m. at the party, go back in time. It's just a very interesting book, had me hooked from beginning to end. So good. The next one is one of my favorites. I'd probably say this about every single book because I wouldn't recommend a book unless it was one of my favorites. So the next one is The Wedding People. Oh my goodness, I had no idea whether I was gonna love this book or not, but I did. I found it incredibly life-changing to my perspective on so many things. I am gonna give the biggest trigger warning for mentions of suicide. That is a really big theme in this book, so I thought I'd just mention it. This book is set in Rhode Island at this hotel, very luxury hotel, where there's a wedding happening. And this one girl, Phoebe, is the only person who's not part of the wedding party. So everyone else at this hotel is there for this one wedding, and Phoebe just somehow ended up being at this hotel, but not for the wedding. And I'm gonna mention it because I'm pretty sure it's one of the first things that's mentioned in this book, but Phoebe plans to end her life at this hotel, but she somehow ends up getting really involved in this wedding. And you just watch as you learn about all these people at this wedding, whether it's like the bride, the groom, all these other people at this wedding. I feel like this book is very important to read and very healing, especially on like mindsets and switching those mindsets. Like it's just so good. My last non-romance book, I have so many romance books, this is actually insane, is We Were Liars. You've probably watched this on Prime, but I definitely think the book is worth reading as well. It is a very condensed version, only 200 pages, but that's why I feel like it's a perfect like beach read. Just take it to the beach. You can fly through this book so easily. This is written in a very young adult way, and I would definitely recommend watching the show first before reading this, because I think the way the plot twist is revealed in the show is better than the book. But then once you've watched the show, you can then read the book and be like, oh my goodness, those were the signs all along. I just thought it was a really good book, and it's not as scary as I thought. I was really scared of this book because I thought I was going to be terrified, like it's a thriller, and it kind of is, but like not in the way I thought. So don't be scared of this book. It is really good. But it is about this family who are like the rich elite in America, and they go to this island every single summer. But one of the daughters of this family married this guy, and he has a son called Gat, and they're very much excluded from this family just because of their race and because they're not brought up in the wealth that this family was. So you're kind of following the main storyline of Katie and this tragic accident that's happened, but she can't remember what's happened. So you're kind of going through the story trying to figure out what this tragic accident is and how it's ended up the way it has. The plotting in this is so clever. It is so incredibly clever. I love it so much. My next recommendation is an author. She is my favorite author of all time, and it is Lynn Painter. How could I do a summer reader recommendations and not mention Lynn Painter? I am leaving out Fake Skating. I'm probably gonna add The Do-Over as well. I haven't read The Do-Over yet, but I've heard it is just as good. Fake Skating though is for winter, so that is not a summer book. These ones I would say definitely are. It doesn't really matter what order you read these in, but I would definitely read better than the movies first. They are young adult, completely spice-free, all of these books. And these two follow the same characters. These are different characters, but these ones are mentioned in these books. And this book is actually being made into a movie by Netflix. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I feel like this book is the blueprint of childhood friends to lovers. There are no other childhood friends to lovers that do it like this book. But these books are about Wes and Liz. It is very like teenager, young adult, but I still love these books. They're just so good. And then this one is about Charlie and Bailey, and it is actually not set in a high school. It is set at work. I feel like it's very rare to come across a book where the characters are of high school age, but it's not set in high school. So I really appreciate this book. It is probably one of my favorites. I love this book so much. And this one is Frenemies to Lovers and Fake Dating. So good. Next two books are both Ashley Poston books. The 7-Year Slip is one of my favorite books of all time, and Sounds Like Love as well. They're both summer books. This one's set in New York City and this one's set by the seaside. But Ashley Poston's books always have like a magical element to them, so they're not a simple romance. In the 7-Year Slip, there's a time traveling apartment 7 years in the past, so 7-Year Slip. Makes sense. And Clementine ends up walking into the apartment and there's a guy in there, Ewan, and he is actually 7 years from the past. Can you fall in love with someone who is 7 years from the past? I don't even want to say anything more. It made me cry. It made me bawl my eyes out at the end, but it is just so phenomenally good. I love it so much. But in Sounds Like Love, there is still the magical element, and the main character, Joni, is a producer, and the love interest is like this rock star. Kind of feels like a fan fiction about Harry Styles, I'm not gonna lie. But they both end up being able to hear each other's thoughts 24/7, and they have to figure out how to write this song to both get out of each other's heads. It is a very interesting concept, and it is set at the beach, surf, sand, everything. How could I do a summer reading video and not mention Emily Henry? I actually have only read 3 out of 5 of these. These two I'm going to be reading this summer, so I'm going to focus on these 3, but I probably will recommend these as well. I've heard a lot of people say Funny Story is one of the best ones out of hers, so I'll let you know once I've read it. Emily Henry is the most beach read author that you could read. Out of her books so far, out of the ones I've read, my favorite is People We Meet on Vacation, which was made into a Netflix film. Phenomenal. I've already rewatched that like 10 times this year. But I will say, I prefer the book to the movie. This one, like Every Summer After, and so many books I've mentioned so far, it is kind of present day, goes back in time, and it follows Poppy and Alex across 12 summers. In here it's 12 summers. I think in the film it's like 8 summers or something. And they end up randomly becoming friends at university, and they have this pact where they go on holiday every single summer to somewhere new and somewhere they've never been before. Just the two of them as friends. This is very much a friends to lovers. It is so good. And they go to places like Tofino, New Orleans, all these different places. And then you have present day where I think Alex's brother is getting married and Poppy gets invited. So you're kind of just seeing it all work out. And then I'm going to briefly mention these two because I wanted to say my favorite one is the main one. Beach Read is literally perfect for summer. I mean, it is literally called Beach Read. So yeah, and I also have another edition of it back there, which is a prettier version. And Beach Read is set at a lake with 2 authors and they swap their genres. And the guy, Gus, is very much a serious thriller writer, and the girl, January, is very much a romance writer, and they challenge each other to swap genres and see whether they could write each other's genres. It is a very interesting concept, and there is a bigger theme. Like, it's not just a romance. There is a very good side plot with a bit of a mystery to it. It is a very, very good book. And then Book Lovers is a small town romance where the 2 characters go from the big city in New York and they absolutely hate each other. This is such a good enemies to lovers, and they both end up in this tiny little town where everyone knows each other and they just can't get away from each other, and to them it sucks, but for us reading, it is the best thing ever. My next summer read is Summer in the City. This is very much summer book in the city. If you love a city romance, this one is perfect. I want to show this map, which is absolutely beautiful, and it's set in New York City, and it shows all the landmarks of where they go. Oh, is just so good. This book definitely feels like a Wattpad once again. The reason I feel like it gives Wattpad vibes is because it's very like, I throw my hair up into a messy bun. And this book is an enemies to lovers fake dating. Very, very good. But the main character, Elle, she is a screenwriter and she's just lacking in inspiration. And then the guy, Parker, is a CEO and he needs to fake a relationship for his investors or something in his company. It is also forced proximity because they are neighbors. It is just so good. And to spark Elle's inspiration for screenwriting, they go around New York City together and they visit all these lovely places. I would definitely want to read this in New York City one day and then go to all the places they went to. I feel like that would be so much fun. I thought I would leave these towards the end just to like spread out my favorites. But my favorite British author is Paige Toon. Seven Summers is one of the best books of all time. I love this book so much. It is set in Cornwall, which is in south of England, and it is very beachy themed. And as I've mentioned, my favorite layout in books, it goes back and forwards in time. So it's like 6 summers ago, then present day, 5 summers ago, present day. And the main character, Liv, is working at this bar in Cornwall and she meets this guy, Finn, but he is from Cornwall but lives in LA, so they only see each other every single summer. It is very much like a situationship kind of book. So you're following along with Finn and Liv going back and forth over time, but then present day she meets this lovely guy called Tom, and it is very much, who is she going to end up with? I don't think I've ever read a book where I had no idea how it was going to end. This book broke me. I was sobbing. It was so good. And then this book I love, What If I Never Get Over You. It is set in Wales, and as a Welsh person, I love reading a book that's set in Wales. But for the first few chapters, Ellie and Ash, the main 2 characters, they actually meet in Portugal. And if you've ever watched the films Before Sunrise, this book definitely gives that vibe for the first maybe third of the book. It actually takes up a big chunk when they're in Portugal. So they meet in Portugal, have 3 special days together, and then their paths don't cross again until Ellie works as a gardener at this grand Welsh estate. And then their paths cross again. And it is just very interesting. The plot twist also had me in this. I absolutely love this book. And there's also a character called Caris in this, which I love. And before I go into my TBR, I wanted to mention the book I'm currently reading. So I'm currently reading Second Chance Summer and I'm absolutely loving it. Another book that's set in Cornwall. If you love forced proximity, this is your book. They are literally stranded on a remote island, just the 2 of them. If that's not forced proximity, I don't know what is. And so far I'm absolutely loving it. I can't give a full review yet, but she is a workaholic and her assistant books a holiday for her and forces her to go on holiday to this remote island for 2 weeks in Cornwall. And the guy in this is the hotel owner, so it's just them 2 on this island. It is very fun. I'm loving this so much. So those are all my summer recommendations, and now we are going on to my personal summer TBR. So books I have not read but will be reading this summer. And the first 3 are all Avi Jimenez books. I mentioned earlier Just for the Summer, these are by the same author, but I have not read them yet. Actually, Just for the Summer is the 3rd one in this series, but I read it as a standalone, still worked. Maybe I'd recommend reading these 2 first, but I haven't read them yet, so I don't know if I can recommend them. And then this one is part of a different series, but it's the first book of that series. So I have A Part of Your World, Yours Truly, that some people say is better than Just for the Summer, and then Say You'll Remember Me. I'm so excited to read this book, mainly because the front cover looks so pretty, but main characters, I wanna go to Maine. No, I can't who. Yes. This is another book, The Cellar Lake. 30 years of family secrets, 2 sisters who have never met, one summer to unravel it all. A non-romance book because I thought I'd mention it. My friends, I will actually be reading this very soon. I'm gonna be reading this with my friend, but I'm pretty sure there's this painting of these friends and this woman buys the artwork, and then the storyline is about her, the woman who buys the art, and then the people who are in the painting who are the friends. And then I have 2 Cara Baston books. I'm so excited to read these. I mean, look at these. I am a judge a book by its cover person. I can't help it. They look so pretty. This one I feel like gives me spring vibes, and this one gives me end of August vibes. So definitely gonna read this at the end of August, but I think I'm still gonna read this in summer, even though it gives me spring vibes, but it's fine. But this one's about a girl who gets pregnant on a one-night stand, and it's about the people who step up, and it is a romance. And then this one is an enemies to lovers, but she's like babysitting the guy's niece. Okay, I only have a few books left. This next one I have heard very extreme mixed reviews on, and it is Just Friends by Hayley Pham. This is a childhood friends to lovers, meant to be a very easy beach read. And then some people have really strongly disliked it, and then other people have really liked it. So I have no idea. We will find out whether I like this book or not. I'm so excited to read this one, but it is a page turn book. This one came out very, very recently, and it's also a signed version. Author of Seven Summers and What If I Never Get Over You. I feel like this is going to be a very good book. It is set in France and it's a childhood friends to lovers. I am so excited. And then these two books were actually gifted to me by my friend, so I'm very excited to read these. This one gives me the Durrells. If you've ever watched that TV show, it gives me the exact same vibes as the Durrells. It's about this family who the father passes away and they move to Tuscany. And then this one is another British seaside book. I'm very excited. I feel like it's going to be a very simple beach read. And then my last book has actually been on my TBR for so long. I can't believe I've never read it. It is The Summer Girl, and it is very much a situationship book, I'm pretty sure. It has a lot to do with surfing. I mean, you can see on here. And it says, as Cassie and Tate walk the line between friends and lovers, they're about to discover that their situation is the least complicated part of this equation. So those are all of my summer book recommendations and the books on my TBR. I hope that you have found a new book that you can read this summer. Whether you've just started reading or you've been reading for years, I hope you have the best summer of reading. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more book, fangirl and vinyl related content, then make sure you subscribe. I post every Saturday and I basically just fangirl over anything book, music or film related. This is a safe space for fangirls because we fangirl together, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!